I really started collecting these popular art images in around 88. Well, I wouldn't say it was a collection first. It was just, I remember my first piece which I bought in 88 or 89. And that was a Ravi Verma print for 500 rupees or something else. And I saw it and I said, look, this looks really interesting. And it had some sort of damage to it. And I remember saying, I said, this is like a very beautiful image and I've never seen anything really like it. And I said, maybe I should, well, I felt like looking after them. I was always fond of, pottering around in antique shops and flea markets and things like that, which I'd done, of course, in India and elsewhere. But, as a teenager, one never really collected or did anything. So really, 88 when I bought this first piece, and then it just started happening and became a collection. And you asked me what is the difference between collecting popular art as well as contemporary. I think popular art has been very disorganized in terms of where you find it and how you find it, whereas contemporary art, particularly over the past 10 years, has been far more, let's say, organized. But for me, that's also the excitement and the passion of it, because you really don't know what you're going to find. It's at some, hole in the wall, antique, not even an antique shop, kabadi type of shop, you'll find a treasure trove, or some shops that actually sells furniture, and suddenly you'll ask them, okay, you have, I don't know, something on paper. I very early on decided that, okay, fine, I will focus my collection on works on paper. And I'm not talking about this in any random fashion, but anyway, so for me, the whole process of discovery and of suddenly finding something, and as I said, I like wandering around in antique shops and everything else. For me, that's also part of it. So I might equally buy teapots, or I might equally buy some objects, or I would buy prints, postcards, stamps, whatever. Because I'd seen that first Ravi Verma print, I then started looking at Ravi Verma, and I found it in many different formats. So initially my collection was really just looking at these Ravi Verma type of prints, and I found everything from postcards to postage stamps to big posters and small, and then educated myself about it. Then I started looking at other paper works, or whatever that dealers or other people would bring to me. So it would be calendar art, that was interesting. And then suddenly the film thing happened. Suddenly one of my guys just bought me, like, I don't know, about 100 film posters, and they were, at that time, the princely sum of $100 or something like that, something ridiculous. So I said, okay, fine, this looks reasonable. And so I started buying, not with having any knowledge of film or anything else, but really from a point of view of protecting it because it was a work of paper, and thinking that it had a value, whether it was an original film poster or it was a print, re-release 3 times down the road. That was not an issue for me. At one point, I was buying in bulk. So if the guy brought me 100 posters, I would buy them. If he bought me 50, I would buy them. I would just buy the entire lot. Then I started looking a little bit more. But a lot of my film stuff that I bought was really just bulk purchase, and which 10 years ago you could do. Then as I started being a little more discerning, and I had too much of stuff, I started looking at, we had acquired this hotel in Chennai, which is in the old Gemini Film Studios lot. So then I said, let me start being a little more educated about it, and I started looking particularly for Gemini, and which I bought, of course, from dealers and also from auction. Just to fill in that gaps, and then that was to augment really a corporate collection. Because what I did with a lot of the film stuff is, because we had this hotel suddenly in Chennai, I used that as the kind of like the artwork theme for the whole hotel. So a lot of the film posters, lobby cards, black and white stills, all that have gone into the hotel, which, so every customer, whether they're staying in the room or walking down the hallways, get to experience, popular Indian film. And as well as a lot of contemporary, art that's based on film. So that's where it's kind of housed in one level. I have really stopped collecting film because that's not really my passion. What I really enjoy is what they call what you'll call now the bazaar art, or the the more fun, interesting, cultural thing. I've always looked for where East meets West and how that image changes, or you may be using Hindu gods for selling biscuits or very Western products. So I've liked that. So my one part that I really enjoy collecting is the calendars and advertising, and that I keep on actively looking for. I'm far more passionate about that than the film work. The film I have, I really don't. I don't have such a. I admire the beauty of it and some of it, the styling and the pictures and the way things were represented, but it's not really my true, not my true passion. Where I've bought things, I said mainly dealers, shops, really looking for things, but not really actively. If I actually sit there and, okay, fine, for the next week I'm going to go out and look for things, that would be a different type of hunting. Yeah. I guess for me it's more like on the side, because I have a regular job and I have stuff to do. So if I find something, I find something, but there may be weeks where I don't find anything because I'm not really looking. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, and neither am I organized as that sense of a collector that I'm only searching for X, Y, Z and I will pursue that. Mm-hmm. So I've done it more for my own pleasure, I would say.
One question which actually is not there. You see, a lot of this artwork, either cinema or artwork which is presenting this nationalism and the Hindu calendar art. Yeah. A lot of scholars have been doing research on it and people have written books on it, and a lot of new theories are coming up, and probably in that regard your collection plays a big role, because there are very few collections of this kind. So when you were collecting, did you have any, did you think about this academic aspect?
No, not at all. I mean, but when I found them, I was intrigued, because obviously it was representing not just some quit India, Mother Earth, and that whole, resurgence of India as India, and then it's, I could see all this propaganda stuff that was happening here and there. Difficult to find material, and I'm looking for more. I mean, because I think that whole political thing, how politics is represented, whether it was 50 years ago or even now, I think material now also is quite interesting for that. So I never thought of it from that point, but it was interesting. There were interesting images, and to see whether it was those Shekhawati ones where they cut off all the national leaders and put them on backgrounds, or prints of how India is represented. So I like that theme, and it interested me, but I never had anyone study it or anything like that until now.
Because actually it's almost historical material today. I mean, you can read the entire history through that, how the popular perception is.
That's why I have to document it better. And then really what I want to do with it, I mean, certainly this is, doing this with Tasveer Ghar is one first step in actually sharing it. It has been, like say, some film stuff I've lent to somebody's exhibition before, so, 30, 40 images. So it has been used like that before. Maybe in the future I'll allow more public access to it through a gallery or through some sort of a permanent collection somewhere. But in the meantime, like say, if someone wants to do an exhibition, I'm quite happy to lend the work. So I have no fixed notion. I don't think I'll be trading or selling it in a hurry. But I've been enjoying collecting it. So now the real challenge for me, and as what you found on the Tasveer Ghar, is there's just so much of material, so it needs to be documented and looked after, and then move forward from there. I think I would like to spend the next year or two doing that.